What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And yes, I'm at my daughter's store, and my bodyguard is right there behind me. I have a good one for you today, and you got to pay attention. You got to follow me. I would advise you right now to grab a sheet of paper, because what I'm about to share with you is what I normally do with my consulting clients. Now, you might be saying, well, Steve, what's the difference between the consulting client and your services that you offer with the company? The consulting clients pay the fee for the company, but they pay an added fee to be able to conversate with me on the phone about getting clear. Now, that cost of that service, it's up there. It's up there because it takes sometimes hours to talk to people, and we usually will talk once a week or once a month. And but the amount, that's it does not matter. Or if it does matter to you, some of those clients pay $5,000 to $25,000 for 1 month, because they're going to get full clarity. And I don't work with people with that, who are timid, who cannot take instructions, and cannot take critiques, people who will not follow directions on what I tell them to do. So it's very limited on how many people I even coach with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a session right now. This will help you with your credit and debt, what we're about to go through. So follow me. Get that piece of paper out. Like this video even in advance. And if you've been watching my videos, you know I don't even tell people to do that. I say watch the video and then like it at the end. So what I want you to do right now, what I want you to do, I need you to do this. I need you to do this for yourself. You're going to want to do this for yourself, because I'm getting ready to give you a lesson on how you can manipulate your feelings to be able to overcome what you're going to need to overcome to repair your credit. Now, you might be saying, well, Steve, I thought credit was just about disputing, just about sending letters, just about calling the collectors or calling the original creditors and dealing with that. It is about that. But what I've learned from dealing with clients that are just regular everyday clients and my upper level clients is that it still has a mental part to it. So let me go through some of the things that people go through, and you might be going through this, and I read them in the comments where people will say that they are depressed. So if you're depressed about your debt situation, the depression part, the debt and your credit situation, you think that has something to do with the reason why you're depressed. And I bet if I was to ask you questions about why you are depressed, you would start off with the credit and debt, but then you would start bringing in things that's happening in your personal life, things that have happened to you in the past, things about how your life is just not panning out the way that you want it to be. Maybe friends are not interacting with you, your marriage is not right, kids, all that stuff. So really, if we really kind of boil it down, kind of pull it down to the root, your credit and debt is not what is manipulating you. Well, it is manipulating you on the surface, but it is not really the root cause of why you have those feelings. So what I want to do is I'm going to give you an exercise that you can do, that I actually do for myself, to make sure that I get out of bed feeling the right way. Because some people say, I don't feel good today. Well, that's a word that you allow to manipulate your body. I don't feel good today, or I feel good today. You know that there's sometimes you can wake up and you feel good for no reason. Like, have you ever thought about that? So if you can feel good for no reason at all, that means that you can feel bad for really no reason at all. But to feel bad, you got to give some reason to feel bad. But the key word is feel. And then what you put in front of it and what you put behind it. So let's do this exercise real quick before I get into how we're going to, how I'm going to get you to where you're going to be able to just take off with your credit repair. If you're with us or if you're doing it yourself, I'm going to give you some key things that you need to pay attention to that will allow you to move forward. And I'm going to give you the reasons why. So follow me. Get that piece of paper out. Stay on this video. Don't leave this video. Don't leave this video. Stay with me. So right now, what I want you to do is I want you to imagine. And you go ahead and close your eyes. Put your phone on silent. I want you to imagine something in the past that was so good that happened to you, or maybe it's you might have got a car or something. I don't care what it is. I want you just to imagine it. I want you to see that. I want you to see that picture in your mind. I want you to start to experience those feelings. If you can't experience those feelings, you need to pick something else. It could be anything. It could be even from your childhood. It could be seeing a family member that you haven't seen in a while. It could be anything. Just I need you to picture it as clear as you can. If you can't really picture it, I want you to get those feelings, have them come up. Now you know that you can make those feelings come up because if something bad happened to you in the past, and especially if it happened with a person, you can see that person and experience what happened in the past. So don't let this not work for you in the opposite for the good. You can do this. Imagine the good thing that happened and then get those feelings of that good thing that happened. And then I want you to draw like a picture frame around that. I want you to look at it and hold it in your hand like it's a picture. The only difference in this is that you can picture what happened and then you can also feel what happened. So like when you look at a picture or something, it'll be like maybe you was on a trip with a family member or on a trip with your family, your kids, and you look at that and it brings back those feelings. I want you to look at that. And I want you to experience those feelings. And now what I want you to do is I want you to open your eyes. And now I want you to acknowledge that that is a feeling. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to put that feeling into a box. That feeling is in a box. You're going to know that you can always go to that feeling. Now, let me tell you the reasons why I needed you to do that, why it is very good for you to do that. Because what I want you to understand about yourself, I want you to understand about how we are as humans, is that we can manipulate our feelings. And other people can manipulate our feelings. That's the crazy thing about it. Follow me. Stay with me in this video. Follow me. Stay with me in this video. So you can manipulate your feelings. And now in that box, you have that good feeling right there in that box. And now on the other side, you already have the box with the bad feeling. You might already be feeling bad. So I want you to acknowledge that that bad feeling box exists. So you got two boxes. You got a good feeling box, and you know how to picture something and go into that good feeling mode. And then you had that bad feeling box. And now something that I want you to understand. So now right now you're literally in the middle and you got two boxes. This is crazy. You may not have even been aware of this. With that bad feeling box, did you know that you put things just like you put in that good feeling box with that picture of what you saw, whatever that feeling was, and that picture of what had happened at that time? That you're doing that same thing with that bad feeling box. But what I've done for you is I've made your awareness, you've like leveled up your awareness, and now you understand that you are you, and that this good feeling is just what you put into it. Those are objects or things that happen, people that you came into contact with. So that is that good feeling. And the same thing with what's going on with your credit and your debt, that's in that bad feeling box. That's in that bad feeling box. So you can actually take that stuff out and put those credit and debt issues that you have and put them into that good box. Now, this is what you got to do with it, though, when you put that into that good box. And that's why this is very important. So, with my consulting clients, is I tell them, okay, we have those quote unquote bad issues that you're dealing with in that bad box, and we're putting them into the good box. And then what I ask them is I say, are you sure that you want to accomplish what you're telling me that you want to accomplish? The goal is to have good credit. The goal is to get out of debt, to lower their debt. Some of them want to be debt free. That's their decision. But I'm asking them, what do you want as your goal? The reason why I asked them to tell me your goal, because when you have a goal, then what we're going to do next is we're going to do what I call a decided decision. That means that have you decided that this is your decision? That goal is your decision. Are you going to put that into that good box right there? Are you sure? Are you clear? Because what most people do is they say, I want to have good credit. I want to get out of debt. And they don't really decide. So what I tell them is you got to decide. Follow me. Stay with me with this video. Stay with me with this video. Write on a piece of paper right now. I decide to have good credit and to get out of debt or to lower your debt. You don't have to be fully out of debt, but you need to have debt that is manageable according to your income. So now we have that clarity. Now let me tell you, I'm going to give you some examples so you can really understand why I have my clients do this. So client comes to me and they say, Steve, my wife is on me. I got to fix my credit. She said, we got to get out of debt. I need to get this taken care of or I'm going to end up losing my family. So now, see, remember what I told you earlier, that the credit and debt is like, that's the surface. But what's underneath that surface, my wife told me she wants me to get this situated. She is blaming me for our financial problems. She is saying that she is going to leave me if we don't get this under control. Now, I know that things have changed. Stuff is different. Follow me. Stay with me on this video. Follow me. Stay with me on this video. When I grew up, the man was the head of the household, took care of everything. Now, it's a combination. Nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong on that. But with the people who, the breadwinner, the husband, they're looking at you. The whole family is looking at you. So if you decide, you do that decided decision on that goal, that means that there's no going back. That means that this is what we have to accomplish. So that means that whatever is confronted with you, that you have to confront to be able to get to that goal, you have to be willing to do it. And so now here's the reason why I gave you that lesson on manipulating your fears. On manipulating your feelings. Because when you are, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you have a $25,000 debt with an original creditor. And now, to get to where you want to be and understanding what your family is dependent on you to do, you cannot say, I want to just keep avoiding them. Because I go through this with my clients. So my client will say, well, what should I do about that debt? I say, well, you're asking me, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to remind you of what your goal was and the reason why you have to have that goal. So now if I repeat to them, not what I'm just telling them to do as advice, I repeat, you told me you want to get out of debt. You told me you want to repair your credit. You told me that your wife said she wants you to take care of this. So that's the good credit and fixing your credit and get out of debt. Yes, that's the goal. But really the goal is you need to satisfy what your wife is asking you to do, because this is going to ruin your family. This is going to mess up your relationship with her. This is going to mess up your relationship with your children. So that's what we got to do. So now, are you clear on what you want and why you need to do it? And now I'm going to repeat again. We need to tackle that debt. So the next question that they will ask me is, how can we do it? Now we're going down the right trail. Follow me, stay with me with this video, and write down what you need to tackle, one debt that you need to tackle, or one issue on your credit that you need to tackle, and you're going to commit to it. That's what I need you to do. So now, the next thing is, okay, well, I look at it. I do my review of that specific account for that client, and I say, from experience, because we do this. We don't just make videos on YouTube about this. We do this for clients. Looking at that debt for, let's just say, $25,000 with that company that you're dealing with, that original creditor in this case, I believe that we would be able to probably get that account settled for probably about 50%, 25 to 50%. So the client will say, well, what do I have to do to be able to get to that? That's a lot of money. Well, okay, it is a lot of money. But what is the alternative? Do you want to lose your family? Do you want to disappoint your wife? That's why I said you need to stick with that decided decision, and then you need to manipulate your feelings on, hey, instead of having that, I got to get out of that debt and having it in that bad feeling box, you move that over to the good feeling box, because what you're going to need to do, you're going to have to feel good about every step that is going to take to deal with that debt. So now the next step with dealing with that debt is going to be to approach that company. So now what they'll usually say to me, my consulting clients, is, oh, we're going to wake them up. Well, you can't. This is the thing. This is why I'm giving this example. You cannot deal with something that you got to deal with without waking it up. And then it was saying like, well, why don't I just dispute it on my credit reports and potentially have that go away? Let me remind you that that debt right there, they are reaching out to you, and that they could potentially take you to court to sue you. And then also part of that equation on why your wife wants you to deal with this is because she knows that that's sitting out there, and she wants to potentially move to a better house. And you know that having a $25,000 debt hanging over your head, collection debt, that you're not going to be able to move into the house. That's why I'm telling you this stuff is deeper than just the words of credit, fixing my credit, and getting out of debt. There is a underground root of all of that stuff, where that stuff, if you don't deal with it, you don't even see it. It's at the bottom, but you know it. So following through is, we got to wake that up, and we got to deal with it. If you are going to truly stand by what you decided and what the reasons why you have that goal, that's what you have to do. There is no turning around to go back the other way. Do you want to accomplish your goal, or do you want to look at it and get back into that afraid box, get back into the bad feeling box, and put those back in there and not deal with it? Or do you want to say, I'm burning that bridge and I want to go ahead and move forward with it? That's the way that you got to do it. So let me give you some examples. Let's just say that you're trying to buy a house. Your goal is to buy a house. You got 1 year to buy a house, and you're looking at your credit reports, and you're like, I got it. I can this stuff here I can potentially dispute. This stuff really won't matter, because what you can do is you can get with a mortgage provider, and they will look at your reports and tell you, hey, this is the stuff you got to resolve. This stuff you don't really have to worry about, because the underwriting is not going to care about it. That's what we tell our clients to do. But even with that said, it doesn't matter what level of money you're on. It just seems that clients that have a lot of money, they have a higher amount that they have to deal with. Clients that have a little bit of money, they have a lower amount, but the amount that they have to deal with is still a lot of money. So that's why you have to be willing to decide, and be willing to know what your goal is, and be willing to go through what it's going to take to accomplish that goal. So you look at your credit reports, you get with a mortgage provider, and they tell you, you got to deal with this, and this. And you're like, man, this is just a lot of stuff. What I tell people to do is just knock it out one piece at a time. So if you have collections, yes, you cannot deal with the collection without waking up the collector or the original creditor, whatever it is. You have to get that resolved, because the end goal is to fix your credit. The end goal is to get you into that house. So you got to do that. You have to do it. So the way that you move through that, because a lot of people say, I just don't feel good. I have this big mountain to climb. And I tell them, you got to practice, getting yourself into that good feeling. And you'll see that something that really happens when I get clients into that is that a lot of good things start to happen. One that I can talk about right now, because it's all settled and done, was that this gentleman was like, his mind was just scrambled. He couldn't sleep at night. It was like he just couldn't move forward. And I was telling him, man, this is what you got to do. And all the way up to the day that we got the contract from the attorney saying that this is resolved, he just could not understand and get it clear in his mind that this is the way that it gets done. And I understand that. And that's why I make these types of videos when it comes to credit and debt. People will say, well, Steve, you really didn't go into how to repair my credit. Well, one of the things that I've noticed with dealing with clients is that a lot of people are afraid to even look at their real, true credit situation. It's like they are afraid. And so I always like to make these videos like this where I'm like, hey, let's get your mental processes pointed in the right direction. If we could do that, you're going to be able to accomplish like a whole bunch of things. Like you're going to be able to get that credit repaired. You're going to be able to get that debt repaired because you're going to be willing to follow through with what needs to be done. So if you're using my company and we tell you, you got to do this, you're going to do it. If you're doing it yourself and you look at it and you be like, this is what I got to do, you're going to do it. You're not going to bag out. Most people, some people, I want to say most, a lot of people bag out because they have not got the mental side. They have not figured out how they're going to move forward mentally with this process because you're not going to get stuff done overnight. It is not going to happen overnight. So if it's not happening overnight, then that means that you got to feel like you're moving towards something. And if you don't feel like you're moving towards something, it can make you want to quit. And then you might be saying, well, how do I know if I'm moving towards something? Sometimes the something don't appear until it happens. Like with this guy, we were working on this stuff, working with the lawyer, telling him what was going on, but he just did not feel it until the day that it happened. He did not feel it. And that's what happens. Let me give you a quick example on something. Let me give you a quick example. Have you ever seen a child that was a genius? That a child that knows things and you're like, I'm an adult and this child is quote unquote smarter than me. And have you ever thought about this? Because this is something that I've taught myself, and this is something that sometimes I'm reluctant to say this to people about repairing their credit because they just don't understand. Some of the times we have to think that we got to know exactly how things have to happen instead of understanding that sometimes things can just happen and we call it a miracle. What I call it is a release. So think about this. Think about this. A child that is, I use my grandson, for example, that is only 5 years old. And now that understands what $1 million is. Not just where you say $1 million. I'm talking about understands what $1 million is and what it means on a level to people. But he has not had $1 million in his hands, but he understands what $1 million is. I'm talking about he deeply understands. Like I can ask him a question about $1 million and what money is, and he knows what money is. He knows what money is more than what some adults know. And he also knows that money is created, and I'm not talking about created on the printing press. He knows what the mind creates makes money. He knows this at 5 years old. Now, what I want you to think about is he knows that, but does he really know all of that? Or did he just accept what it was on what it is? He accepted money is created and this is millions of dollars and this is what you can do with millions of dollars. He accepted that. Now, I've coached people on how to make $1 million. And I even went through this myself before I made it to a certain level, is that I was so concentrated on how. So, how to fix my credit. How to do this, and this. But think about it this way. What if you just accepted that your credit is going to be fixed? What if you just accepted it deep inside, it's going to be fixed without having to know how long, how it's going to happen, what, all of this stuff, like mixing it up. Because when you think about it, does it really matter? So if today, let's just say today, you started working on your credit and, a few months from now, your credit was, let's just say right now you're at a 550 and then your credit is at a 800. Would you really have to know how? Would you, like, answer me that question? Would you really have to know how? Like, are you gonna go and trace back? Okay, uh, this, and this. All of this was done, and that's how I got to 850. And then let's say that you did it yourself, and then you tried to explain it to you. Let's say you try to explain to your cousin, hey, this is how I got to 850, and then they're gonna be like, well, how? We gotta do this, and all of that, and they're gonna be like, they're gonna be so stuck in the how that you would be like, man, it's just crazy. I'm at 800, so just trust what I told you to do. That's how you would be. But how would you be at that? That's why I had you do that imagination uh, 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 process with the feeling. Because if you could get yourself to there, the sooner you can get yourself to there, the sooner you will allow things to happen. It's like your decisions that you would have to make to get there would be like so easy, you probably wouldn't even remember some of those decisions because you'd be like, I'm releasing that. If I got to do that, I'm releasing that and doing it because you really have turned into the person that has an 800 credit score. Now, for the final thing that I want you to do, final exercise in this, if you have an 800 credit score, are you gonna be the same as a person that had a 550 credit score? Are you gonna be that person? That's why when like you see someone on the street and they don't have their life put together, you as you are right now and you're driving in your car going to work or doing whatever you got to do, you don't see yourself as that person. But that's the same type of mental thought process that you use to when you see that individual and you see yourself not as that individual is the same process that you should use to see yourself as a person with an 800 credit score. Because if you see your person with 800 credit score and you look over at your other self and you see that person with a 550 credit score, do you think that you would see yourself even as yourself with that score? Do you see yourself as that same person? No, because you know that you had to do certain things to get to that other. Even if you don't remember them, even if you don't even really acknowledge it, that's why people be like, man, who you think you are now that you got all this money and you got all of this stuff, fame, fortune, all of that, you change. Of course, yeah, hell yeah, the person changed. And you're going to change. And until you change, nothing is going to change in your life. So you need to understand that. All right. So if you need help with your credit, before I finish out, I got to give these updates. We had some very good settlements come through, good negotiations with attorneys. Won't mention those attorneys' names, but thank you for working with us to help our clients resolve those debt issues so they can move forward. No judgments were awarded on those. We even have some victories on people who did beat debt collectors in the lawsuits. And also, all of those clients who had those settlements, all of them, even though they had to come out of some money to take care of those, they immediately said that they were stressed, they were relieved of the stress, they feel good about, they had their best night of sleep, and that they can breathe better now. And I think that that's a huge part of the work that we do. It's always something underneath. It's more than just what people think it is about fixing your credit and getting out of debt. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. And shout out to my customer service team. They are doing their work. They are doing their work. And if you need your credit reports and scores, get your credit reports and scores go to www.your3scores.com. Grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. It also has the comment section. It also has the furnisher addresses, so you can deal with the appropriate. If you have a debt collection on there, you got to send it to that right address, because these debt collectors, they got all these different regional addresses and they don't always move that over. They can just disregard your debt validation. If you have debt collectors come after you, grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations, cease and desist collecting activities letter, and uh, statute of limitations letter. If I didn't say that, statute of limitations, cease and desist collection activities letter, and debt validation letter. Use the one that is appropriate for your situation. I do ask for donation on those, but it can save you time, money, frustration. If you have a hardship where you have a financial and a medical hardship or extreme financial hardship, accounts are charged off, I have a service where you can do it yourself. Link is below this video, and we have a service where we can do it for you, but we would have to know all of your debts and what you're going through with that. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. Subscribe to the channel, post your questions and comments, and have a great day.